The Galactic Exhibition Hall was larger than any city on Earth. Its ceiling stretched into darkness, filled with floating lights and moving symbols. Hundreds of alien races gathered there, each one proud, loud, and confident. This was the day civilizations showed their greatest creations. Weapons that could burn stars, ships that could bend space, machines that could control time. The air was full of noise, power, and arrogance. Then the humans arrived. They were late. Their ship was small compared to the others. No glowing armor, no sharp edges, no massive cannons. A few aliens noticed and whispered. Soon, whispers turned into laughter. The human delegation walked calmly into the hall. Men and women in simple uniforms, faces calm, eyes focused. They carried a single object and placed it on the central platform. It was Earth's first interstellar prototype. It looked plain. A smooth metal frame, no flashing lights, no visible weapons. Compared to the others, it felt almost empty. Silence lasted for 2 seconds. Then the hall exploded with laughter. A tall reptilian engineer pointed at the device. "Is this a toy?" he said loudly. Another alien laughed and added, "Did they forget to finish building it?" Screens around the hall zoomed in on the prototype. Advanced species scanned it with their sensors. The results made them laugh even more. Low energy output. No visible shield systems. No offensive systems detected. A senior alien scientist stepped forward. His voice echoed across the hall. "This is what Earth brings to the galaxy," he said. "Your species should focus on survival, not exhibitions." More laughter followed. Some aliens openly mocked humans. Others turned away, already bored. But the humans did not react. They did not argue. They did not defend their work. They simply stood there, watching and listening. Captain Elias Moore, the human lead, folded his hands behind his back. His face showed no anger, no shame, only patience. Inside the human ship, parked far outside the hall, systems remained active. Running calculations, adapting, learning. The laughter continued. Until suddenly, a sharp alarm cut through the noise. Red symbols flashed across the hall. A restricted Imperial gate, sealed for thousands of cycles, began to activate. The Galactic Exhibition froze. No one was supposed to be near that gate. No one had access. Technicians shouted. Security fleets scrambled. Then the impossible happened. A spatial pool formed without warning. Not violent, but absolute. And one ship was caught inside it. The human ship. In seconds, it vanished from normal space. The hall fell silent. The laughter died instantly. Screens showed the human vessel reappearing far beyond allowed borders. Inside the core territory of the Galactic Empire. Gasps filled the room. Some aliens backed away in fear. Entering Imperial space without permission meant destruction. No exceptions. No explanations. The humans on the platform finally moved. Captain Moore looked up at the screens. Then calmly turned to the stunned audience. "It seems," he said quietly, "there has been a navigation error." No panic. No shouting. Just a simple statement. The Galactic Council members stared in disbelief. No species had ever entered that space and survived. And yet, the human prototype still sat quietly on the platform. Silent. Unassuming. Waiting. Far away, Imperial sensors locked onto the human ship. Weapons armed. Commanders confused by the lack of distress signals. As fleets closed in, one question spread across the galaxy. Why were the humans not afraid? And what had the galaxy just laughed at? The human ship drifted inside the core territory of the Galactic Empire. Stars here were older, brighter, and heavily guarded. This space was sacred, forbidden, and feared by every known species. Imperial alarms rang across dozens of command stations. Massive fleets changed direction at once. Warships larger than cities moved to surround the intruder. Inside the human ship, there was no chaos. No running, no shouting. Crew members stayed at their stations, calm and focused. Captain Elias Moore stood at the center of the bridge. His voice steady, his posture relaxed. He looked at the tactical display and nodded slightly. "Open communication channels," he said. "Standard greeting, no defensive posture." The officers hesitated for a moment. Imperial space meant instant destruction. But they followed orders without question. Outside, the Imperial fleets formed a perfect circle around the human ship. Weapons charged, shields glowing. One wrong move would erase the humans from existence. An Imperial commander appeared on the main screen. Tall, armored, eyes cold and sharp. His voice was heavy with authority. "Unidentified vessel," the commander said. "You have violated Imperial core space. State your origin and purpose immediately." Captain Moore stepped forward. He did not bow. He did not show fear. "This is human exploratory vessel Atlas," he said calmly. "Our entry was unintentional. We experienced an unexpected spatial pull from your restricted gate." The bridge went silent. Imperial officers exchanged confused looks. No one had ever described entering Imperial space so casually. "Unintentional," the commander repeated slowly. "No species survives accidental entry." "We understand," Moore replied. "We are prepared to cooperate. We apologize for the disturbance." The apology stunned the Imperial command. No threats. No excuses. Just calm words. Imperial sensors continued scanning the human ship. They expected hidden weapons or illegal tech. Instead, they found balance and control. Power systems were stable. Shields were inactive but ready. No aggressive systems were online. Back at the Galactic Exhibition Hall, the Council watched in silence. The same beings who laughed earlier now felt uneasy. Their scans updated in real time. Something was wrong. The human ship should have collapsed under Imperial pressure fields. But it didn't. It adjusted, adapted, and held steady. An Imperial science officer spoke quietly to the commander. "Sir, their systems are responding to our environment. Not resisting. Synchronizing." The commander narrowed his eyes. That was impossible. Imperial space crushed foreign technology. "Run deeper scans," he ordered. As the scans went deeper, new readings appeared. Hidden layers. Inactive systems waiting for input. Not weapons. Not defenses. But control structures. Inside the human ship, a young officer looked at the data and frowned. "Captain," she said softly, "Imperial scans are probing our core framework." Moore nodded. "Let them look," he said. "They won't find anything dangerous." "Yet," another officer whispered. The Imperial commander leaned closer to his screen. "What is the purpose of your vessel?" he asked. "Exploration," Moore replied. "Observation. Learning." The word learning echoed strangely across the Imperial channel. The commander hesitated, then gave an unexpected order. "Stand down primary weapons," he said. "Escort the human vessel to holding position." Shock spread through Imperial ranks. No outsider had ever been escorted, only destroyed. Back in the exhibition hall, fear replaced laughter. The humans had not begged. They had not threatened. They had simply existed calmly inside power they were never meant to touch. As the human ship moved deeper into Imperial space, one truth became clear to everyone watching. The galaxy had made a mistake, and it was only beginning to understand it. The human ship was escorted to a massive Imperial station. Its structure floated like a metal moon, ancient and powerful. No foreign vessel had ever docked there before. Imperial officials gathered in observation chambers. Scientists, commanders, and council advisors, all watching the human ship in silence. They expected fear. They expected resistance. They saw neither. The humans followed every instruction calmly. Docking procedures were clean and precise. No sudden movements, no hidden signals. Captain Elias Moore stepped onto the station with a small team. Unarmed, calm, aware of every watching eye. An Imperial Science Director greeted them. Tall, thin, skin marked with glowing symbols. His tone was careful. "We will examine the device you presented at the exhibition," he said. "The prototype." Moore nodded. "That is acceptable," he replied. "It was designed to be observed." The words puzzled the scientists. Designed to be observed, not protected. The prototype was transferred into a controlled chamber, surrounded by Imperial scanners. Layers of energy fields wrapped around it. Scans began immediately. At first, results matched earlier readings. Low power output. No weapons. No shields. Some scientists relaxed. Others frowned. "Increase scan depth," the director ordered. "Bypass surface systems." The scanners pushed deeper, and the readings changed. New structures appeared, hidden beneath simple metal. Complex networks folded into each other. Energy pathways that didn't behave like known technology. Systems that responded, but did not activate. The chamber grew quiet. "This is not a weapon," one scientist said slowly. "It's not a ship core either." Another voice joined. "It's a regulator. A control system." The realization spread quickly. The prototype wasn't built to attack. It was built to manage. Moore watched their reactions. He did not smile. He did not explain. The director turned to him. "This device," he said carefully. "What is its purpose?" Moore answered without hesitation. "It stabilizes environments. Energy, space, systems. It prevents collapse." The room stirred. Imperial technology was powerful but unstable. Controlled by force, not balance. "And this is your first version?" the director asked. "Yes," Moore replied. "A very early model." Silence followed. A very early model. One scientist stepped back. "If this is early," she said quietly, "what does the final version do?" Moore tilted his head slightly. "We are not finished learning yet," he said. The words unsettled them. A species still learning, yet already touching Imperial-level control. Data from the human ship was displayed next. Supporting systems, modular designs. All adaptable, all unfinished. Humans did not build final answers. They built systems that could grow. The director's expression changed. "This technology," he said. "It could neutralize Imperial weapons." Moore nodded. "If required." Fear entered the room. Not loud fear. Quiet fear. The prototype was mocked because it looked simple. Because it did not shine or threaten. But simplicity hid intention. The director took a slow breath. "There will be a demonstration," he said. "To understand your claims." Moore nodded again. "Of course." He turned to leave the chamber. Calm as ever. Behind him, Imperial scientists stared at the prototype. No longer laughing. No longer confident. They had misjudged humanity. Not because humans were weak, but because humans did not need to show strength. The demonstration chamber was vast and heavily reinforced. Ancient Imperial symbols covered its walls. This room was designed to survive failure. Imperial scientists watched from behind layered shields. Commanders stood ready to shut everything down. No one trusted a foreign device inside Imperial space. The human prototype rested at the center of the chamber. Still, silent, unremarkable. Just as it looked during the exhibition. Captain Elias Moore stood beside it. Hands relaxed, voice steady. As if nothing dangerous was about to happen. The Imperial Science Director gave a slow signal. "Begin," he said. Moore nodded to his team. A single command was sent. No dramatic countdown, no warning. The prototype activated. There was no explosion. No surge of blinding light. Only a soft shift in the air. Sensors across the chamber reacted instantly. Energy levels smoothed out. Fluctuations disappeared. Imperial systems that always ran hot began to stabilize. Power flow became efficient, controlled, calm. Scientists stared at their screens. "This is impossible," one whispered. "Our systems are syncing with it." The prototype was not forcing control. It was offering balance. Suddenly, a test weapon was powered on. An Imperial plasma emitter, unstable by design, meant to overwhelm enemies through raw force. Before it could fire, the prototype adjusted the space around it. The energy dispersed harmlessly. The weapon shut down on its own. Gasps filled the chamber. Another system was tested. A gravity distortion field, capable of crushing ships. The prototype responded again. Not attacking. Correcting. The field collapsed gently. Space returned to normal. Fear spread among the observers. Not because something was destroyed, but because nothing could resist it. The director's voice shook slightly. "It doesn't fight," he said. "It decides." Moore remained calm. "This is not a weapon," he said. "It's a safeguard." Imperial command channels lit up. Reports came flooding in from nearby sectors. Power grids stabilizing without input. Damaged stations repairing themselves. Weapons going offline peacefully. The prototype's influence extended beyond the chamber, reaching into Imperial systems connected by shared space. The Empire had built its power on dominance, on overwhelming force. Humans had built control. One commander whispered, "If they wanted to, they could shut us down." Moore heard the fear, but did not respond. The demonstration ended as quietly as it began. The prototype powered down, returning to silence. No alarms sounded. No damage remained. The room was still. The science director turned to Moore, his earlier arrogance gone. "What do humans want?" he asked. Moore considered the question, then answered honestly. "To understand. To survive. To improve. Nothing more. Nothing less." The Empire realized something terrifying. Humans did not seek control over others, but they already possessed it, and they did not even care to use it. The Imperial Council chamber filled slowly. Elders, commanders, and observers took their places in silence. The demonstration had changed everything. For the first time in Imperial history, fear was not directed outward. It was directed inward. Humans stood at the center of the chamber. Not restrained. Not guarded. Simply present. Captain Elias Moore waited calmly. Hands at his sides. Eyes steady. The council leader spoke at last. His voice heavy with caution. "Humanity has demonstrated power beyond expectation." Murmurs spread across the chamber. Not denial. Acceptance. "The Galactic Empire proposes," the leader continued, "observer status for Earth. Access to shared knowledge. Protected passage through Imperial space." This offer would have shattered most species. Empires had fallen for less. Wars had been fought for such recognition. Moore listened, then nodded once. "We accept," he said. No cheers. No pride. No celebration. The council waited for more. Gratitude, excitement, submission. None came. An advisor leaned forward, confused. "Do you understand the honor being offered?" Moore replied calmly, "Yes. But it does not change who we are." That answer unsettled them more than any weapon. Word spread quickly through the galaxy. Humans had not demanded power. They had not threatened war. They had been mocked, pulled into Empire space by accident, and treated it like a minor inconvenience. The prototype returned to its quiet place. No longer laughed at. Now feared. Other species re-watched the exhibition footage, seeing the moment differently now. Humans standing in silence, surrounded by laughter, already beyond it. The Empire adjusted its policies, not publicly, but carefully. Human ships were no longer scanned with aggression. Human signals were given priority. And humans noticed, but did not react. Back on Earth, the event was recorded as a successful test. No parades. No monuments. Just data. Lessons learned. Improvements planned. The galaxy expected humans to change. To rise loudly. To demand respect. They didn't. That was the true shock. Humans did not need approval. They did not need fear to lead them. They simply moved forward. Calm. Adaptable. Unimpressed. The galaxy had laughed at Earth's first prototype. Now it watched carefully. Because the most dangerous species was not the loudest. Not the strongest. It was the one that didn't care.